Okay, good morning, everyone. Right. So I think I stated here very clearly, the recordings will only share with the student, okay, listed on the Google Meeting attendance list. Didn't attend the class. If you request, I will decline your, because when I send it directly, automatic send to the students based on the attendance list. So if you get the link from your friend, you ask for the request, sorry, I will not approve it, okay? Because I restated here, right, very clearly. So this is your last lesson. I will cover the revision for the final exam. Actually, I just checked with the lecturer yesterday. Probably I posted the past year, right? Not cover the MPV value, the week 7, right? So I'm going to skip there, but rather focus on the past year questions. Okay, I will emphasize on those important topics. Right. So first of all, we just go to the week 6. Okay, go to week 6. Download the cost budgeting. Okay, so this is one of the important topic. Okay, this is one of the important topic. Okay, I want you to try. Have you tried the questions? Maybe I give 5 minutes you try. Okay, to read the questions. So, okay, before I go to it, let's take a look at this cost budgeting sample. Okay. So yeah, you will be given some information example here. You have the budgeted sales, right, from April to August, selling price. Okay, then the company name. Okay, so if the question asks you to prepare budgeting, cost budgeting, so make sure you have the company name, then the month. Okay, put all your informations, okay, into the table here, right? Selling price, and then you calculate the total budget sales, just normal calculation, right? Expected cash collection, so is there 70% collected in the month of sales, 25% collected the following sales, the month following sales, 5% uncollectible. Okay, so we need to calculate, right? So 70%, right? So 70%. Okay, here you have 200 budget. So to calculate, okay, so from the Apple sales, 70% times 200,000, so you get 140. So the following 25,000, 25% times 200,000, okay. So for the May, so you just continue accordingly, right? So this slide I also attach, okay? So you can refer here how to calculate, okay, for this kind of question. So at the end, the total purchase cost given, and you have the expected cash disbursement for the material. So this is 50%. And total the disbursement. So basically, the cash budget divide into 4 sessions. First, you receive, okay, cash receipt session. Then you total it. After that is your cash disbursement, right? And then you have to minus that. You have to minus receive minus the disbursement, right? Then you can check the cash exit or deficiency. So you can suggest, usually a question asks you or recommend to what you need to do the next step, right? So you can borrow money or repay fund and so on, okay, or financing the following section. So it depends on the scenario given, okay. So this is for this example, right? This for example. So you can see you have the beginning, the cash collection, total cash you have, and then you minus the disbursement. Okay, so you have to total all the disbursement here. So including like material, direct labor, okay, in minus out, then you can see, okay, obviously this is exit. So it's exit, then they have to borrow, okay? When you borrow, then you have to calculate how many percent they need to borrow and so on, right? So you can see this one is a deficiency. So this kind of question will come out in the final exam, take note. So you must understand how to calculate, okay? It's not difficult. You have the cash received, then minus the disbursement, right? And then you check, is it exit or deficiency? In this case, it's deficiency, negative, right? Then you need to borrow how much? Okay, so for this case, this is they borrow 50,000 because it depends on the company. If they request end of the month must have how much balance, right? So they will suggest like how much you need to borrow so that your balance 30,000. So borrow 50, right? So probably it's like 50,000 minus 20,000, you got 30,000. So let's say you say, oh, the balance must have 50,000. That means here you have to make it become 50,000. That means you have to borrow 70,000. 70,000 minus 20, you got 50 balance. Okay, so this is cash budget, right? So example. So the following month, that means carry forward here, then continue what is a cash received for the month, and then minus the disbursement, right? Okay, so for here, for May, you can see that is the exit, so no need to borrow, okay? But you go to the carry forward to the June again, okay, you got deficiency, right? Got deficiency, then you need to borrow, okay? So for this case, because you previously you borrow 50,000, right? So you have to pay back here. Yeah, you have to pay back here. Because the payment have to following month, right? So probably this is calculate the OR, right? So this is an example. Now we're going to our questions here, okay? So I give you 5 minutes, try to put in all this information in the table. So I will share this like a template. That means this is a general template, okay? General template, that means you have the company name, right? So we usually in exam, if you look at the final exam question, they'll give you this one, but maybe they leave it blank here, you know. So you have to fill in the blank. But this is a general format, okay? You must have the company name and then cash budget for, you know, they say how many months and so on. Then you have the opening cash balance, that means from previous, and then you got the cash received. Okay, so cash receipt example, you have cash sales, other income. Then you have to total it. Okay, and then you have to minus the cash disbursement. So disbursement, as just I show you, right? There are few buying, purchase material, rent, and so on, right? So you have to add it also. After you add it, that means you take the total cash received minus the total cash disbursement. You get your closing cash for the bank balance, right? Just plus minus plus, uh, everything plus, and then minus. Then you get this one. Then carry forward. But just an example, because not enough money, right? They have to borrow. So they got another section. Okay. So for the question one, okay, I just share this template. I want you to try to fill in the information. Okay, maybe I give you try 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes to fill in for your question one into this template, right? 20% of the sales are cash, 60%, okay? Or start from here, 50% in March, 60% in April. Just put in the information here. Okay, so try. I give you maybe like 5 minutes. Try, because your final exam, the question, I mean, not similar. Yeah, it's something like this. Similar. Okay, give 5 minutes now, maybe until 8:30. Okay, try. Okay. Have you tried? So as I mentioned, your final exam question for cost budgeting is something like this, okay? It means you are given the scenario and you have to write out this one, okay? So from the question, how I write this one, okay. So first you must put the title lah, company name you can put here, okay? This Osvian Catering. Had sales of 50,000 in March, 60,000 in April, forecast sales for May, June, July. Okay, you're going to focus for May, June, July, right? So actually you can just write a May, June, July. But if you want to include this one, March and April also can. So this is your beginning one. Okay, the actual sales. This three is a forecast one. So 50,000. Just put in 50,000. And then let's say it's number, you can go to this number format, you custom, choose custom, then you change to a dollar sign, okay, to make it in proper unit. So this one is 60,000. Okay, May, June, July, expect the forecast sales 70, 80, 100. Okay, 70, 80,000, 100,000. Okay. Right. So next, the company has a cash balance of 5,000 on May 1st and wish to maintain a minimum cash of 5,000. Okay, minimum must have 5,000. If less than 5,000, then have to suggest to like borrow something, borrow money, right? So starting with the 5,000 in May, right? So opening cash 5,000. Okay. So given the following data, prepare interpret cash budget from, okay, so actually you can skip these two columns. If you want to include also doesn't matter. So important is start from here. Okay. So first you have 20% of sales are cash for cash, 30% are collected in next month and remaining 20% are collected in the second month. Okay. So the collected, the company received other income of 2,000 per month. Okay. So we fill in one by one. So we start from here because it's 20% of the sale. Okay, 20% of the sale. Sales is 70,000, right? This is what we forecast. So 20% 2 times this. Okay, 20%. 20% is 0.2 times this. Okay, this is a 20% sales cash. Okay, right? 20% sales are cash. And then 60% are collected in the next month. Okay, this is from 60% collected next month. That means from the previous month because like 1 month, right? And the remaining 30% collect the second. Okay, so this one from the May, right? That means you collect from the previous one. 60% collected in next month. That means 60% of the April were collected in May. So you calculate like for June as well. Okay, this is like for 1 month. So this is 60%, right? 0.6 times from here. And then another 20%, remaining 20% are collected in the second month. Okay. That means like 2 months. In March, well, next in second month, So that means you have to look for March lah. That's why I include here. Okay. So this is 20%, 0.2 times for the March. So that means for March, this one 2 months before March. This is the next one, that means April. This is the current month. So when you calculate for June, right? So let 1 month is from May, let 2 months is from April, right? Okay, other income, 2 months, 2,000 per month. Okay, other income 2,000 per month. Okay, any question? Any questions? Up to here, any questions? So probably I transform information from here, on this part. So this is receive, cash receive. Okay, cash receive. So sum. Okay, sum this amount. Okay, next we look for the last disbursement. Okay, cash purchase. The company expected purchase all cash 50,000, 70,000. Okay, this one is you have to fill in May, right? May, June, July. It's 50,000, 70,000, 80,000. So 50,000, 70,000, 80,000. Right? So next, rent is 3,000 per month. This is fixed. That means the rent, yeah. Okay, wages and salary, 10% of the previous month sales. Previous month. So you have to calculate based on the previous month. Right? 10%. Percent. Previous sales. Okay. That means this one is based on previous 10% sales. So previous is okay. I just put here 60,000. So in exam, you have to write down because your exam, you use calculator, right? You have to write down, draw this table. Or maybe they give you this table, but they leave it blank. Some blank here, some blank here. Okay, so cash dividend 3,000 will be paid in June. That means dividend you don't pay in May, right? You pay in the June. Okay, so 3,000 cash dividend paid in June. Loan repayment 4,000 principal and interest is due in June. Okay, loan in June. That means May you didn't pay, right? But you pay in June 4,000. A cash purchase of kitchen equipment costing 6,000 is scheduled for July. Okay, this one for July. That means you purchase something in July. Okay. Tax of 6,000 are payable in June. Okay, tax pay in 6,000 pay in June. Right. So now the May is done, right? So for this one, okay, but this one I have to fill in first, right? Because this one I have to calculate the cashier. Cashier is 20%, right? times the previous from the previous one. Okay. Not previous, current one. Then the lag one is the previous one, sorry. Okay, let me just complete this one. Point 2 is times the current sales. Okay, this one is for the current. So lag 1 month is 60% times the previous one. Then this one is lag 2 months. So for the June, that means you get from April here. July, get from. And this other income, 2,000. Okay, fixed one, constant. Okay, so make sure all the cash received you fill in correctly, and then you just sum. Okay, so in exam you not using Excel, you have to manual calculation. Okay, you have to do manual calculation here. So just now for June, May, okay, June also we fill in already. Oh, this one we just have to calculate because wages is 10% of the previous one. Right, so 10% from the previous sales. So we have to calculate. Right. So cash dividend pay already. This one loan payment if you in already. All right. So okay, everything fine. Right. So after that, you this one that's 1,003. Yeah, that correctly. Oh, so I have to plus everything here, include here, because I dragged the formula. Yeah. So you have a first session is a cash receipt, second session is cash disbursement, right? So closing cash at the bank, you take the cash receipt minus this one, right? Some students you can use bracket lah. You can use bracket also can represent the negative or the minus one. Okay. Yeah. So from here you can write minus or we have to, sorry, from beginning, this one plus and minus. Okay. Forgot the 5,000 beginning. And then the balance here, I have to add in here. Okay, so from here, remain, carry forward to the next month, right? So from here, negative 21,000. Okay, sorry. This one, I have to add the opening one. Okay, so cash opening cash plus the cash received minus. Okay, so this one, let me just check again. Okay, correct. So the following one, you got negative 30,000, right? So here is negative 30,000. Okay. So calculation, this one have to this value plus. Okay, so still negative. That means this budget show that in in July it's negative. Usually, like you have a company have like 3 months budget, right? So they'll budget okay. So in this case, maybe the company can do some adjustment. Maybe you say okay, the equipment maybe they don't purchase here, right? Or they need to get a loan, suggest they get the loan or whatever, right? So uh, usually the question after calculate, so what is your suggestion, right? Interpret the cash budget. So in this case, you can see got the negative, right? Then you can suggest, okay, the company should look to establish an overdraft or line of credit for at least 31,000. Because why 31,000? Because it says should have 5,000 balance. Right? Remember this question say? Yeah. Maintain a minimum cash of 5,000. So you have to suggest 26 plus 5 is 31,000. Okay. Right. So any questions? I show you step by step. Right. Definitely a questions from this one for the final exam. Okay, definitely a question for this one for the final exam. So please take note. Right? Any questions? So I will go through, I think this is the important questions. If you see final exam, later I will discuss some questions. See your final exam. Let's say you look at the final exam, right? This is the last semester questions. Yeah, you are given this example, right? So here they fill in for you. Then you have to calculate. You have to calculate. You have to come out the table like just now. I draw it, right? Example for this question. All right, you are given the collection from customer, payment, labor, wages, pay, sales, security. Okay, expected to realize 30,000 in cash. The company has a line of credit card, a local bank, and to borrow up to 45,000. The company want to maintain a minimum cash balance of 30,000 each month. So you have to right draw a table like just now I have. So that means have two sessions. First session is a receipt. Second session is a reimbursement. So that means your receipt is a collection from customer, right? We have January. So for the receipt session, have 80,000, and then you have what the received part. This one payment is a disbursement, right? Disbursement. Labor also disbursement. So these two is under disbursement, right? Wages also under total costing depreciate 10,000. Okay, this one overhead is under disbursement. Selling and administration also disbursement, right? The company expect to have cash balance 56,000. That means opening cash 56,000. Okay, so later we will do this one. Okay, so you can have some idea. So we do one more question. We do one more question. At least you're familiar. Because this kind of question, I think quite a lot of marks, like one question you can see how many marks for one question. 20 marks. Okay, so imagine you prepare like this, you get 20 marks. All right. Okay, so I want you to try question 2. Okay, please try question 2. Okay. You should be able to come out this template lah, huh? You should be able to come out this template yourself actually. Based on the information here. You have the year, right? Year doesn't matter. That means you just need to put the company name lah for the year. What? Okay. And then September, October, November, right? Just follow how many months here. But exam, they don't give you so many months because you have to do calculation manually. So usually I think they give you like 2-3 months, maximum 4 months only. But for our exercise, we're using Excel, right? So can you complete this one? Maybe I give you 10 minutes. Okay, I give you 10 minutes to do it. Any questions? Any questions? So far, any questions? So I give you 10 minutes, Okay, let's continue. So make sure you understand every single step, right? As I mentioned, this is important for your exam, right? Right, we start with the cash balance at the beginning in, start from it. We have cash budget for November through April. Based on the following information, assuming that 15,000 minimum cash balance is required, what conclusion do you draw from the monthly cash balance? The cash balance at beginning of November is 22,000. The actual sales purchase for September and October. Okay, and the forecast is given here, right? So we start with, you have the projected sales. So basically this is like actual sale, right? Because budget for November, that means September, October is the actual sales, right? So we start with the sales here. Okay, year, month, sales, purchase. So sales is 210. Okay, 210,000. For the October, 250,000. 250,000. Okay, November. Okay, we put in sales, purchase. Okay, purchase is 120. 150. Okay, November, 170, 140. December, 160, 100. January, 140, 80. February, 180. March, 200. 100. April, 250. 90. Okay, so first you fill in the sales and purchase given here, right? And then your opening cash, you say that 15,000 minimum, right? You must have the 15,000 minimum. The cash balance beginning November 22. So start from November, you have the 22,000. Okay. So start from the November. Okay. Can start calculate what information given here. Okay. The first makes 20% of all sales for cash and collects 40% of its sales each of the 2 months of the following sales. That's why you need to fill in this one. 2 months. That means November, your like 2 months, like 1 month, right? Okay. 20% of all sales, collect 40% of its sales in each 2 months. Okay, so first the cash sale is 30% for their sales. Okay. 40% each of the 2 months. Okay, here you can see 40, 20, 60 only, right? So another 40, right? Another 40, so it's like 1 month. Oh, I didn't put a comma. Equal. So Although this question didn't mention at like 1 month, but 20%, 40%, only 60%. So another 40% here. Okay, another 40%. Okay, let me just put here. Means this is 40%. Okay, times previous month. This one for the October lah, October sales. Okay, this is 20%. Hash. Hello, sorry, yeah. Not sure what happened. The line suddenly cut off. But the recording still on. Okay. Right. So let's continue. So 12,000 cash flow 12,000 in September and April. So just fill in first. 15,000 in January. And March. 27,000 in February. Okay, that means October blank. Okay, okay, so it's blank. Okay, then the firm paid cash for 10% of its purchase. Okay, so 10% for this purchase. So we start from here. 10%, right? Okay, 10%. This one, I think we can just drag because you get the formula. Okay, 10% from each purchase. Okay, so you can just drag. This is a 10%. Okay, so you can calculate the purchase. It paid for 50,000. Any questions? Yes. Yeah, you just ask me the question. Unmute yourself, ask me the questions. Yes, any question? Li Lan.
Boss, you didn't share the screen.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, because just now, sorry. Just now my connection disconnect already. Okay. Okay, now can see? Now can you see? Okay. Right. So 10% pay cash for 10% of his purchase. So 10% times the purchase, right, for each month. So you just key one and then just drag. But in exam, you have to manual calculate, okay, 10%, that means 0.1 times the purchase sales, right? Okay, it pays for 50% of its purchase in the following month and 40% of its purchase 2 months later. So you see, total up must be 100%. So the means for current month, you pay 10%. 50% you will pay in the following month. That means you late pay for November here, you will pay in December. Okay, 50%. And you pay 40% in next 2 months. Here, January, you'll pay this one. So based on here, we have to calculate, okay, November, that means like 1 month, this one, another this one. So this is a 50%, right? So just put a comma. So this is a 50% times the October purchase. Okay, so for this one, will be next 2 months is a 40%, right? So this one is a 40% for September. Okay, so equal 0.5 times the previous month, 0.4 times the 2 months before. All right. So I think I can just drag the formula because in Excel, right? Excel very smart. You auto calculate for me. You can check. Yeah. This is the previous month. Right. This is another previous 2 months. Right. Okay, so rent, wages and salary amount 20% of the previous month. So wages. Okay, rent first. Rent is 20,000 per month. Oh, rent is fixed. Rent is fixed 20,000. Okay, you can just copy paste lah. Fixed. Wages salary is 20% of the previous month. Okay. Just put here 20% from the previous month. So October lah. 20% of the sales, right? October sales. Wait, my key. October sales. Okay, 20% of October sales. Okay, so this is 20% of October sales. So if you want to calculate this one, December is 20% of the November sales. So I just drag. Okay. So importantly, you must get this correct. If you're using Excel, you must get the formula correct for the first column here. Then you can drag the formula. Okay, next, interest. Okay, interest payment. Interest payment is say for interest payment of 10,000 are due in January and April. Okay, interest payment due in January. Right, January 10,000 and April. So 10,000 interest due in January and April. A principal payment of 30,000 is also due in April. Suppose in April you pay 10,000, right? Okay, you can separate it, you can combine it. But here I combine it because principal and interest is the same category, right? Suppose you pay 10 April, right, for 10,000, but you still need to pay principal 30,000 also due in. That means this one you plus 30,000, right? So become 40,000. Okay, so I put a note here. Means this one you pay interest and principal. Okay, principal plus interest. That's why you have to pay 40,000. Okay, for April. Okay, and then a firm expect to pay cash dividend of 20,000 in January and April. So cash dividend, January and April, you have to pay 20,000. 200,000. 20,000. Okay. Right. So this for this cost budgeting a bit more items actually not difficult. You just need to read one by one. A GST tax. Okay, tax payment 80,000 due in April. Okay, so 80,000. And then cash purchase of fixed asset in December. Okay, December fixed assets. Okay. So the sequence is not important. You can just follow here, just put it one by one. Okay. Right. So you have to calculate this November, then the balance. After calculate balance, and then you include put in the opening cash here. So before that, you have to calculate the total cash. So the total cash received. Okay, just put it here. Then and just drag. When I fill in, auto correct it. So for this one, okay, I just make sure highlight all, so you can auto calculate. Okay, so to calculate the balance, you have to take the initial one, right? The initial amount plus this one minus this one. So I got 33. Okay, I just drag the formula. Okay, but it's not right because I need to carry forward this 33,000 opening one right here. I can just put equal, or you can copy paste lah, same one, right? So you can just drag here. Okay. This one, let me check. 33,000. Oh, this one I didn't fill in, sorry. This one I have to calculate the 20%. Okay, I just drag the formula here. Okay. I have to fill in the cash sales, right? The cash sales is the 20% of the cash sales, 20%. So I just drag, fill in here. So got 200 here. Okay, carry forward 14,000, 37. Okay, 67, correct. Okay. Using Excel is very convenient. See, when you key in, you just drag the formula. Manual calculation, you have to exam manual calculation, take note. Then you have to check one by one. So as I mentioned, final exam, they don't give you so many months, maybe 2 or 3 months only. Okay. Okay, important, you must look at the balance. Okay, end of the April, 22,000. But the minimum case, cash required, it mentioned that you must have like, how much? 15,000. 15,000 minimum cash balance. But now negative, right? Now it's negative. So what you need to do? So the company should look to establish overdraft at least 22,000, or you can not at minimum 15,000. This one is from the solution. That is not correct, right? It should be plus 22,000. Yeah, should, because you need to pay this one at the same time, you must have the balance 15,000, correct? So the answer, just take note the answer given here. Is it correct? The 22 minimum cash balance is 15,000. Oh, okay, I missed out here. 15,000. Okay. Because I didn't fill in the blank here. Must have 37,000. 30, correct. 22 plus 15, 37. Correct. Because you got negative 22, right? When you pay 22,000, you get 0, no balance. But you must, as from the question, you must have minimum cash balance 15,000. Okay, so you add 22 plus 15,000, so it's 37,000. Okay. Okay, up to here, any questions? So question 3, you try yourself because got the solution given, right? Now I'm going to focus on our final exam. Okay, got half an hour. So I will quickly go through it, and then you take note which one I say important, highlight, right? So as I mentioned, those students didn't attend my class, you don't get this recording video, okay? because the recording video is only shared to the student who attend my class, right? Okay, now we go to final. Any question for this cost budgeting before I go final exam?
Teacher, this one cost budgeting, right?
Mm.
There's also one part is financing part. We don't need to do, right? For this, for final.
For this question,
No, for final exam, do we have the financing part?
financing the repayment or what?
Like the how much they need to borrow each year. You know, the first example you show us.
Oh, example one. Oh, the first cost budgeting example, the slide it means.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you refer to the slide. That one, because I'm not sure the lecturer actually yesterday I tried with the lecturer. I said week 7. He said week 7 MPV not come out in exam. So he said focus on week 6. So that's why I focus on week 6. But she didn't mention got refinancing or no refinancing. So if got refinancing, you can refer to the slide. Okay, so at least you got an idea. I think refinancing, you just add one more section. Okay.
Okay, thank you, boss.
Okay. I'm the boss. All right. Okay, let's look at your final exam. Okay, this part, question 2. Question 2, you can refer here. Right. Okay, question 1. Okay, question 1, this one, actually, I see this question is not covered. We don't have the practical questions, right? Practical questions. Contribution per unit, break-even point. Break-even point, I think all of you quite familiar, right? But contribution margin statement and so on is under your, I put in the slide here, actually in your, yeah. This is a CVP, right? Yeah, cost profit volumes. Hey, sorry. I got 2 parts here. Okay, so you must be familiar with these formulas. Contribution margin. What is contribution margin? So that means the total sales minus the variable cost. Okay, so you must understand the concept. Margin, that means you want to sell some. Okay, so your sales is a sales cost plus labor cost, overhead, the profit. So this is your sales. You have to include everything what you have to pay, right? So usually call it they rename it like fixed cost, variable cost. VC is like direct material cost and labor cost, that variable cost. Then you have fixed costs. Okay. So you can refer the example here. So how to calculate the contribution margin, right? So I think this is very good example. So make sure you go through it. Okay, the formula here. Now I straight away go to the final exam. Okay, I straight away go to the final exam here. Just open one blank one. Okay, let me just see. Okay, we just do a quick calculation here. So let's say question 1A. Right, calculate contribution per unit. So how to calculate? So based on the formula, contribution equal to what? The total sale minus the variable cost, right? So total sales is your selling price. Margin, contribution now. So no answer given, so you have to try. Answer. Okay. So this one just recap. So you just find the answer. So that means the margin, contribution margin. This is called contribution margin. So based on this contribution margin, yeah, you know how much your margin you earn, right? So B, break even. So to calculate the break even, the best you can, how much unit you need to sell, right? So that you can didn't make profit and make loss lah, right? So you know the fixed overhead forecast to be 23,100 for the year. Okay, sales demand is 4,000 units. Okay, so what you have to find the break point first. Break point. Break even point. Okay, break even point. This at what point? Okay, how many units? So 23,100. Okay, divide by the contribution margin. So basically, the sales demands 4,000 unit, right? Then fixed overhead are forecast. The forecast you get this amount, and this amount you divide by the contribution. So that means roughly you have to sell 2,200 units, right? Okay, so the break even, how much? So you know the quantity, right? The quantity is 2200 times how much? 45.5 the sales. 100. 100. Okay, so this is A, B, C. Use the contribution margin statement to calculate the forecasted profit for the year ended 31st December 2024. Right. So use the contribution margin. Right. That means what we calculate here. Calculate the profit, right? Okay, so firstly, you must know how much the sales, and then you have to variable cost lah, right? You have to minus the variable cost. So this is contribution like per unit. So you have to calculate the overall one. Okay, so you have the sales. Okay, 4,000 times 45.5. And then you have to variable cost, right? Variable cost is 4,000 is 35. So contribution margin is 42,000. So we have to put less. So I have to minus this one. So that means you have sales, right? Sales minus the risk margin, right? Remember, this is sales minus the VC or formula. Let's put like this. Okay. After you calculate the contribution margin, you want to find the profit, right? You must know what is the fixed cost. So fixed cost is 23. We calculate here, right? Yeah, fixed cost. Fixed cost is given here. fixed overhead. So profit equal to contribution margin minus your fixed cost. Okay, so this is how you calculate the profit. Okay, D, calculate the number of units to be sold if the target profit. So you are given the target profit is 25,200, right? Okay, how calculate unit to be sold so that you can get back this value. So number of units sold. Okay, so equal to, okay, you have to calculate your overhead fixed cost plus your $200. Okay, this is your contribution, right? This is your fixed cost, right? And then this is your 25,000. Okay, yeah, this is your target profit. So your target profit have to add this the fixed cost. That means you must calculate how much you need to target the fixed cost here, divide by the contribution. Okay, so you get 4,600 units. Okay, that means you have to sell 4,600 units in order to hit this target. So you can see that the break-even point here is 2,200, right? That means at 2,200 point, you didn't make profit, didn't make loss, right? But you sell 4,600, you earn the profit here, right? Besides minus the overhead, the fixed cost. Okay. C, D, E. Okay, calculate the margin of safety for in terms of quantity and revenue. Margin of safety means how much is the I mean, you don't make loss or anything. The safety, the cut off. Okay, so you have 4,000 units right from the questions. 4,000 units minus 2,200 units. This is your sales demand, and this is what you calculate in order to break even, right? So it's 1800 units. Okay, so we want to know this 1800 units times the 45, your sales lah. So 81,900. So this is called margin of safety. Okay, that means the difference, the difference. So if the CEO of company looked at your figure and say something is not right, our fixed costs haven't changed and you show a higher break-even point. I want a lower break-even point. Explain to the CEO how the break-even point could possibly lower down by suggesting 4 methods. So one method, 1 marks. So this is you can give any relevant. So that means you can discuss in terms of the fixed cost, the variable cost, when you explain this kind of question, you just go back to the formula, the original formula. That means you will involve the variable cost and so on, right? So can suggest, okay, decreasing the amount, the fixed cost lah, the fixed cost, okay? Or fixed cost means the expenses, the overhead, or whatever you can say, right? This is one method lah. So secondly, what you can do is reduce the variable costs or expenses per unit lah. Okay, you can talk about per unit. This is overall fixed cost. Okay, the amount overall. This one is reduced per unit. Then you can improving the sales mix. This one I think in the lecture notes, right? Or maybe you look at the slide I shared just now, the the revision, right? I put in the revision, please go to that one, and also the cost budgeting just now, the slide. Okay, or you can increasing the selling price. This is definitely is one of the important. If you're not sure, you just put in the increase the selling price. Because increase selling price, you know, you can increase the margin already. So increase the selling price without significantly decrease the number of units sold, right? Because otherwise you have to sell more. Because when you increase your price, that means you no need to sell less. This one without significantly, okay? Or can just say increase the selling price. Because we usually increase the selling price, your unit so let's say remain the same. Yeah, definitely. You make some changes. Okay. So this F, okay, G. Okay, this is 25 questions, right? I almost covered this one. Then I will need to cover one more. Not budgeting, I cover it. Or revision. Okay, describe Excel function. Here you talk about goal sheet, right? So how do you use goal sheet? So 2 marks. So you just mentioned you have to go to the what if. This is important. What if analysis. So you remember what we learned? What if analysis? So to find or determine a single value, right? This one goes is to find a single value based on, just use on your own words. Or you can go to the Excel, right? You just look for Excel data. Okay. When you put variable you want, so you can just click it. So you say you need to set cell to value changing cell to find a single value. Okay. So maybe the question will ask a data table. So yeah, you can say what is a data table. You just find here. Data table. So data table, okay, like just like see output. Here you can say multiple outputs based on 2 variables at the same time. That means you need to set your variable and also the column, right? So where is it? Yep. Okay, you just write, yeah. Or you want to explain more, I think you can refer lecture notes. In our lecture notes you mentioned, right? Actually, it will change the changing value based on the set cell, based on the set cell, or they change, right? They will elevate until they get the value. Okay. So this is a question 1. Okay. So question 2, just now I cover cost budgeting already, right? Okay, now I go to question 3. Okay, question 3 is more on the descriptive statistic. I just briefly go through it, right? We are rushing out of time there. So question 3, basically, you can see question 3 is more on the talking about numerical and categorical variable. So we'll focus on the type of charts. Type of charts. Okay, for each variable. So maybe they ask you like our test, right? So name the categorical variable. So gender is categorical variable. Age categorical, right? English efficiency categorical. So numerical is the score. Critical reading strategy score. So this is numerical. So maybe they ask you what type of charts. Okay, so you can see what type of charts. Then state level measurements, right? Suggest one graph. Yeah. So what chart suitable? So I think if you attend my practical class, I highlight before, right? Numerical, you can perform histogram or box plot. Categorical, you can do bar chart or pie chart, right? Yeah, you can do revision. This is like week 1 or week 2 or week 3. Okay. So interpret the histogram. You can see the distribution shape. You can comment on the distribution shapes. Is it a normal distribution or skew and so on, right? Then you can focus on, because it's how many marks? 4 marks, right? So you can talk about the highest and lowest. Yeah, in what range? This is a mode. Mode is in between this range, right? So any outliers. So if there's outlier, it should be like blank, then that is a value. Then that's outliers. Okay. So you can see so many sub questions, right? Yeah. So basically, you have to learn how to comment the plot, right? State the sample and population of the study. This is quite straightforward, right? Sample, that means, okay, from the question, everything from the question. Is it a total of 100 students? So were randomly selected. So this is called sample, right? It's a sample. Population is a students age 23 years old and below. This is a population, right? So you have to learn interpretation, okay? So focus on population and sample. This is important. That means you must know how to identify population and sample. Then you must know interpretation. Okay, for mean, median. I think I roughly interpret before, right? Mode, standard deviation. Yeah, in one of the practical class, right? When we do calculation. Okay. So like for the mean, you have to use the word average when you interpret, right? Median, you can say 50% or half, right? Half of the student have the sample, this value. So this is a highest or most. For standard deviation, you can say on average, okay, on average, okay, the observation deviates from mean. You can refer to the quantitative, this one quantitative study, the year 1, right? Interpretation. So this is for question 3. Question 3 is more like the descriptive statistic, okay? Descriptive statistic. Okay, then go to question 4. Question 4 is regression. Okay, question 4 is regression. So for question 4 is on correlation and regression. So you remember the correlation, right? I think one of the chapter I show you how to look at. Usually they will give you the scatter plot lah. Comment on the scatter plot. Then you can comment is it positive, negative correlation, or you can say relationship. Okay, so take note. This one I not share out. I only share the recording, right? Because those who didn't attend my class, I don't think they deserve for it. So only who attend my class, then you deserve for it, right? So also we also focus on the p-value, hypothesis testing, right? If you attend my class assignment, right, I talk about hypothesis testing, right? Then you must use the p-values, right? And also you learn you can refer back the quantitative study, right? So 5 step, hypothesis testing, 5 step procedures. So you must know how to write these 5 steps, because you can see one of the question, right? Yeah, interpret means standard deviation. Okay, suitable graph, that means suggest what is the scatter plot. When you look at the correlation scatter plot, then what is independent variable, what is dependent variable, and then you are given the results, right? Interpret the R square, right? You have to perform hypothesis testing, right? Identify, explain your decision. Okay, based on the table 6 result, that means you look at the p-value means are significant. If less than 0.05 means significant. So in this case, gender is significant. Score of reading strategy is significant. The rest not significant. Okay, then you have the R square. Right, I think R square, I'll show you the interpretation. The interpretation for the R square. Right, how many percent of the variation in Y explained by the X. And also you must able to write the regression equation. This is important, regression equation. So constant plus this one times gender, So example for this case, so it's like your Y is, in this case, your Y is a score reading, right? Okay, see from this question, it say what? Use the same data set, critical reading, consider multiple regression to identify significant predictors of student critical reading score. So that means this is a Y variable, and that Y score, okay, so this is a score critical reading of academic. Okay, you are not sure, then you just write the whole thing. Okay, then copy. So it's equal to, write the equation is important. You must be able to write equation. So based on the value here, so 1.626 minus 0.176 times gender, right, plus 0.026 times age, and then plus 0.572 times score reading strategy, minus 0.028 times scores self efficiency. Okay, so this is the regression. You should able to write down all this, right interpretation. Okay, so I think so you can take this past year question, practice it, right? And you can see the question in practical class is quite similar, right? You can practice it, and you can use your lecture notes. I think your lecture notes also got more details. You can refer in there. All right. So any more questions? Any more questions? So I hope this would help you. Right. Yeah, any question, just ask, please. Any question, just ask. I'm going to end the session because I'm going to start 10 o'clock class soon.
Oh,
Yeah, Natalie.
hello. Yeah,
Yeah.
teacher, can hear me? Morning, teacher.
Yes, yes.
Teacher, I got some curiosity about the assignment part. Is that okay to ask about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the assignment part is only like the part A, D part, the part A, D sections
Mm-hmm.
is about like the offer by the Singapore